This show is a lot of fun, and there's actually a real ending. Hello, welcome to Just My Thoughts. I'm your host, Khaleel Ward. On this episode, I'll be talking about Pantheon Season 2. It's on Netflix. It's another 8 episodes. They're like 40 minutes each. Season 1 came out in like November, so you have the full 16 episodes now. There is an ending to this show. I will try to recap Season 1 because there's a lot going on in the show. I will try not to spoil major things. Anyway, recap Season 1. The main characters are Maddie, her mom Ellen, her dad David, and this kid named Caspian that they come across. Maddie and Ellen are dealing with the fact that David died 2 years ago. However, Maddie is receiving messages online, and her mom confirms that it is from her father. They are confused because, again, he's been dead for 2 years. David worked for this company, and they were working on UIs, uploaded intelligence, basically taking your brain and uploading it to the cloud. When David passed away, he was sick. The company tried to upload him. They said it didn't work. They gave Ellen like his hard drive, like, oh, it didn't work. Turns out they lied. So Maddie and Ellen, they discovered David in the cloud along with some other UIs that the company lied about uploading. And now the UIs are trying to break it down to Maddie and David. They come across Caspian. He's a real tech savvy kid. And they are all trying to understand what's going on with these UIs. Some companies are forcefully trying to upload people and, manipulate systems in the computer. And the company that David worked for, they are just trying to do stuff for Holstrom. Holstrom owned the company. He has passed away. He's like an evil Steve Jobs. We'll talk about him more in season 2. Anyway, Maddie, David, Ellen, Caspian, and the other UIs, they work on exposing the company while figuring out what to do with the public at whole. By the end of the season, they expose the company and tell everyone about UIs because some of the UIs were trying to launch nukes and stuff like that. They have that type of power. So by the end of the season, they cut off the internet and everybody knows about UIs. Season 2 picks up right where season 1 left off. There is no internet in the world. The governments are rushing around trying to figure out what they're going to do. Is it real that the UIs were attacking things? Some people believe it's made up. So we are following Caspian for the most part, first 3 or 4 episodes of season 2. He is trying to fix this flaw with the UIs. So when the UIs are uploaded, yes, they have a lot of power, but over time, they eventually overclock and they die. Overclock means they're just working too hard and they die off. And that was the problem Holstrom had with the UIs. He could never crack what they called integrity of fixing the UIs and making sure they don't die. So Caspian is trying to fix that issue, but he also believes that when the internet comes back, there will be a lot more UIs online, and who knows what they're going to do if he fixes the flaw and they'll just have unlimited power. So he believes there should be one UI to rule them all, and he wants to use David, Maddie's father, because he met him, he spent time with him, he understands that he's a good person, he didn't really want to be a UI. So he thinks if he cracks integrity and fixes the flaw, he'll give it to David, and then David can rule over the UIs. That's his plan. Of course, it doesn't work out like that. The people that Caspian is working for, they have their own hidden agenda, even though they keep telling Caspian, hey, yeah, you're in charge. We're going to do what you say, boss. You're the man. Maddie, on the other hand, she's very upset because she lost her father twice because in real life, and then when he was a UI. So she is dealing with a lot of things. She's trying to set up a little internet for her town and the community, but there's people fighting her on things like that. So if she eventually meets up with Caspian again, and Caspian fixes the flaw, and he creates what's called Mist. And Mist is a CI, which is a cloud intelligent, and Mist can talk to them through the computer, but she wants a body, and she believes, since Mist was created with some of David's code, that Maddie is her sister. Yes, I know, it's a lot going on, but it's really good. So Mist is very cute. She's adorable. She reminds you of a droid in Star Wars or something. And so now we follow Caspian, Maddie, and Mist as they are trying to stop the company from doing a lot of evil things with the cure that they have now. Maddie's mom is testifying in front of Congress about things she said in the previous season and about UIs, and trying to get people to understand this is a real problem. It's a real threat that people are using UIs to do things. You have Pope, he was in charge of the company after Holstrom passed away. He is using the cure for some very evil things along with evil Steve Jobs. And the show does a lot of things well. The characters you spend time with, you start to love them. You hate the bad guys like Pope and a couple other people, but when you spend time with Maddie and Caspian and you see the things that they're going through, it's so well done. By the time we get to episode 6, which is called Apocalypse, we get some action. Because when they go in the computers and they are these UIs, they be fighting. They fly around, they fight each other, they use the code and everything to fight. So you get some action along with some romance between Caspian and Maddie that, it was there in season 1, but you get it a lot more in season 2. And you get the action where these people are doing a lot of things and they're trying not to overclock too fast because they can die. The government, for their part, they're like, yeah, we'll turn the internet back on, but we're gonna upload a virus called SafeSurf. And the virus basically hunts down UIs that are overclocking, doing too much, and erases them. So now, not only do you have to deal with evil Steve Jobs, you have to deal with the government trying to find you if you're doing a little bit more than you're supposed to as a UI. Episode 6 it's this big battle between all these different UIs trying to do the right thing. Episode 7 and 8, it's like an epilogue of here's what happens next after the events of the battle. And it's familiar, but it's also very different from where the show was going. And it's like, you're like, oh, there are consequences to these actions. It doesn't just like, oh, it ends and we're happily ever after. Like they show what happens next. And I really appreciate that, because a lot of these shows, you just like, there's a big battle, okay, we're happy, we're gonna go home and start a family or something like that. But no, there's a lot of things that change in this world by the time you get to episodes 7 and 8. And I had a blast with it. 16 episodes on Netflix. Put your phone down. I know it was a lot of stuff I was throwing out at you, because it can be a very confusing show if you're not paying attention to what the characters are saying or what they're trying to achieve, throughout the series. But Pantheon season 1 and 2 is on Netflix. I highly recommend it if you're looking for something entertaining to check out. It's animated, but it has some cool fight scenes at times in the computer world. There's some romance. You enjoy the characters. It's a lot of fun. Those are just my thoughts on the show. If you watched it, let me know what you thought about it. Thanks for watching.